going to call our May 8th Blueprint meeting, regular meeting to order. We want to welcome everyone for being here. All right, as you can see from the agenda, we have a few items on consent and one general business item. Mr. White, are there any?
I'll call.
Okay. We need commissioners in chambers. The time is 3:01 for our 3:00 p.m. start. How many more do I need?
Got all your county. Got 4.
Okay. Is Commissioner Porter still online? He doesn't count towards the quorum. All right. Commissioner Matlow and Mayor Daley, we need you.
We're going to be giving out tardy slips.
I'm gonna throw at that.
No, those of us who are on time get to leave early.
That's not how it works, Commissioner.
That's not how it works.
We don't have a quorum.
Okay, all right, here we are. We're ready to rock and roll now. Oh, I thought they said she was on. Okay. Okay. Okay, let us know when she's back on, please. Okay.
They don't need to take another vote.
All right. Mr. White, are there any agenda modifications?
No, Madam Chair, there's no agenda modifications. However, we, just to be in the proper posture, should vote again to allow Commissioner Porter to participate telephonically, should she come back.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that once they're able to make the connection, the Commissioner Porter will be able to participate telephonically. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you very much. And just let us know when we have her back on. Okay, we will now move to our citizens to be heard. And I understood in the budget meeting, we had 2 public speakers. Do we have speakers?
They will speak on consent, but we do have one speaker, Ken Webster.
Okay. You saying that they will speak on consent?
I think that's what I was told by me.
We need the ones for non-agenda items. You good? No. Okay. And was there another?
We have Ken Webster.
Okay, I think he's gone, he's passing.
We don't have any other speakers.
Okay, all right. All right, very good. We will move on to our informational items. Next on our agenda is informational items. Mr. White?
There's no presentations to be made on this, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Madam
Okay,
Chair, I'd move consent.
okay.
All right, and I will note that item 2 has been
Pulled from consent. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Second, consent.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that we, with the item removed, we will accept the items on consent. All in favor, let it know by saying aye. Aye. Okay, and now we'll deal with the item that's been pulled from consent. Marty?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Directors, this is the acceptance of the draft fiscal year 2024 annual comprehensive financial report for the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency. As stated in the item, the draft ACFR, as we call it, has been prepared by the Blueprint Financial Officer, and we expect to receive an unmodified opinion from the external auditors. There were no unusual transactions during FY 2024, and it is anticipated there will be no audit findings, in keeping with all prior fiscal years for the Blueprint 2020 program. Although we typically have the audit report prior to the May meeting, in coordination with Blueprint Legal and our external auditors, we included the draft fiscal year 2024 ACFR for your review today so that we can meet the state's filing deadline. However, as we stated in the item, The final report will come back to you at your next scheduled IA meeting on September 18th, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Artie. Commissioner O'Keefe, you're the one who requested that it be pulled?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to address your concern?
Yes. So my concerns on this, and I laid them out in a letter ahead of time because I didn't want it to be a surprise. So as you may know, I'm a CPA and governmental auditor. In fact, I at a time was on the audit for Blueprint. And so I'm very familiar with what the rules and accounting rules are and typical process for an audit, which I'll, remind everybody that the auditors don't work for management. They are reporting on management's numbers to us. And so I looked at the report and I figured there was something missing. And then the audit reports over internal controls and the results of testing weren't in there, and that was odd to me. So I reached out to the audit partner and asked them about it. And so talking with them, I brought up that I don't see a receivable as an asset for the $1 million from Cascades Gardens that's due to be paid back in 2027. And in discussion with the audit partner, he looked at the contract and confirmed that that should be there and that it is likely going to result in a material audit finding, which is unusual. We don't have those before. And then he explained that they're not really that far in the audit process, that their financial records, the final balances and general ledgers were only given to the auditors last week, about the same time this report was sent out to us. And because it was later, they aren't going to be able to, as was said, give us a report on the results of their findings, which it is unusual to approve an audit well before the audit work is actually done. It's one thing when there's like a couple days left but we already know from my discussion with the audit partner that there's likely to be a big change in what we've seen. And so I think that our public expects transparency and accountability. We really aren't going to delay any submission to the state if we were to defer approval of this, let them finish the report, tell us if there were findings, if the item I brought up, the missing million, is a finding, and we can do a quick meeting in June when it's done, and then it will go to the state. My concern is that if we approve an audited statement that isn't been significantly audited and that is very likely to change materially, but then we don't get to see the change results before the state gets it, and we don't see it till September, have we really done our job? And what if it is different in September, we find issues than it was in June? Do we resubmit an amendment to the state? And so I think this is pretty straightforward to not set a precedent where the audit can be late and we have to be asked to approve an audit before it's final, before it's substantially even started. And so I think we should just make it easy, do it right, and get it done. And I move that we defer approving the audit report and have a brief special meeting called in June when it's complete to approve the complete results.
Second.
Thank you. Before we go to entertaining any motions, I want to give our staff an opportunity to respond because, first of all, if all 12 of us call that auditing firm to ask those questions, that would be a problem. So I'm not sure why we couldn't work through our staff to get a response from the partner because...
You're right, and I didn't get a response from staff. That's why I called them. It's because I didn't get a response from staff. Remember, they report to us, the auditors.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe, for that reminder. I'm also saying that when we have contracts with vendors, I don't think it's incumbent upon each and every one of us to make that call to them. If staff is not responding, there are other means to handle that internally. If staff is not responding to you, then, there's the IMC, the events, you could have gone to there's a number of things we could have done. I just don't think that we should be calling the auditor who's in the middle of our audit, and then for them to respond to you as opposed to responding through staff. I'm not understanding how that actually works. But nevertheless, it has occurred. Artie, would you you or Autumn like to address his concerns?
Well, I'll start off, Madam Chair, with I believe we received a question and responded to it and actually shared that response with the entire IA board. So I don't believe staff was being unresponsive.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Did you accept the motion in the second, Madam Chair?
No, I'm coming to that. I wanted to give Artie an opportunity to respond to the concern. And I stated my concern, that we shouldn't be calling folks contracts have been initiated with as individuals, because we are operating as a body, not as an individual. So restate your motion. I understand Commissioner Proctor is ready to second it.
I move to defer final approval of the fiscal year 2024 ACFR to a brief special board meeting to be held in June once the audit's complete, so that we approve the final audit report before a June 30 submission.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second. Staff, I'll give you the opportunity to respond to any of that, and then we'll come if anyone else has a concern. And for my question, it's a draft, right? And it's a draft because we know it's not final.
That's correct, Madam Chair. And we are very clear in the agenda materials that that is the case. And this was to meet the state reporting deadline. But again, we will be providing all of the final materials to you in September. So there will be full transparency that you will receive these documents and get to see them and review them and bring them up for discussion should you choose to do so.
So knowing that it won't be final till September, what is the reason for a special meeting? I'm looking at Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The board is required to approve the final audit and financial statements before they can be sent to the state, and that would allow us to approve the final audit financial statements before they go to the state in June 30.
So are we getting a final in September, or are we getting a final in June? Or explain the process.
If I may.
Yes.
Thank you. So,
And please speak into the mic. I've got a
Yeah.
note here that we need to be reminded to speak into the mic because they're having trouble picking up our voices. So pull it close.
so Blueprint and the City of Tallahassee use the same financial system. So Blueprint's audit always comes after the completion of the city's audit. Typically, the Blueprint meeting is held later in May. This year, we had our Blueprint meeting earlier in May. So the city just finished their audit, I think, about 2 weeks ago, and I think it's going to be on your next city commission agenda. So as soon as your audit was completed, then the auditors, we use the same external auditors as the city, they could begin the review of the Blueprint audit. They were provided, the Blueprint finance officer prepared the audit and provided that to the external auditors early last week, and they've begun that review. It typically takes 3 weeks for them to complete that review. So we do believe that we'll have their review of their external audit review done within the next 2 weeks. So that's well in advance of the June 30 deadline. So the final ACFR will be done before the June 30 deadline. That's very important because that's the state's deadline. If there are any substantial findings as a result of that external audit, we would bring that back to this IA board for your review. If there are no substantial findings, and we don't anticipate that there will be, which is why we placed the draft audit on your agenda for the agenda today, then we will submit it to the state on June 30th, and then we will provide the copy of it to you immediately after that submission, and then again as a part of the public record of the September 18th, 2025 meeting.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Commissioner Maddox.
Just for understanding, so, Madam Chair, may I address Autumn?
Yes.
So you're saying that the process here is we would approve this draft if we went with staff recommendations, option 1, and if there's any findings on the audit after it's completed June 30th, then it will come back to us for review?
Any significant findings?
Any significant
Yes, sir.
findings.
Any that would change the audit opinion. Getting a little out of my comfort zone. I'm not a CPA. So,
Okay.
but yeah, if there's anything significant, then yes, we could come back to this body and we could work with the chair to set up that meeting.
The draft, Madam Chair? Okay. But either way, we would get the final audit, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that will come back when? June 30th? Or how will we receive it?
We would send it to you once it's completed, send it to the entire IA board once it's completed, which would be prior to June 30th, and then it would be made a part of your next meeting, September 18th, so that it would be part of that meeting record.
Thank you. Madam Chair, last question. Commissioner O'Keefe, may I address Commissioner O'Keefe? Commissioner O'Keefe, given the process that she just laid out, and the fact that, I mean, we've seen draft audits, you've been in the field for a long time, that's irregular from what you've seen before?
Typically, a board would receive what is final. They get a report, partly because what we don't have here is the report from the auditor to say there is no findings, this is clean. We don't have that yet. And so typically you get to see that before you vote to accept. And so my only concern is that I fully know that staff will send us whatever the results are one way in an email when they're done, but if there's a finding or something, we don't have a meeting to approve what the real results are before June 30. It's let's submit what comes out to the state, and then if there's issues, you can talk about it in September. That's my issue, and if it's the will of the board to take a roll on it, that's fine. It's an issue for me.
Final comment, Madam Chair?
It's your second close.
Second close, yes, ma'am. I won't need but two. I see both points. We've always done it this way. But Commissioner O'Keefe, Director O'Keefe, I do see where you're coming from on this. I do know that staff would bring back any kind of substantial findings that would be seen, or that we would have. I think in outer years, it may be something that we want to consider in timing when we finish it, so that, you know, we can have some comfort in knowing that, you know, long term, that there are no findings there. We have a final that we're voting on rather than a draft. But I understand the urgency in which we're talking about and getting this draft approved. And so as much as I do agree with where you're coming from on this, Commissioner O'Keefe, I'm going to go ahead and make the motion for staff recommendation with the caveat that in future budgets, that if we can get the draft done prior to us having to be in this position, because you will have to report something to the state, that we could get that done. I do agree with some of the things Commissioner O'Keefe is saying, but I understand the urgency by which we're operating with. I just don't want us to be in this position next fiscal year without it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So to be clear, you made a motion? Yes, ma'am. I did. Substitute motion, and okay, substitute motion is on the floor. To restate it, if you would.
That was the staff recommendation.
Okay.
I will caveat that in future audits that we wouldn't run into this problem again, whereby we're waiting for audit to be done, knowing that we needed to take some audit that year.
Okay.
I agree with, like I said, I do see where Commissioner O'Keefe is coming from. He has some very valid points, but I do see again that there's some comfort to me that staff will bring back to us in September if there is any findings that we need to address.
Okay.
That's my motion.
Okay. Okay, the motion is clear. Quick question. Are we doing anything different than we've done in the past?
In 2019, we had a similar situation where the ACFR was not complete at the time we had the May board meeting, so there was an approval of a draft report. But in most years, we do have the final report.
Okay, I see we want to weigh in on this, so I don't know who came first, so I'm going to go with.
Madam Chair, take a second.
Yeah, you did get a second.
Okay.
Mhm. I'm going to go around, starting with Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I address staff, please?
Absolutely.
I have a self-educating question, the more clarifications. Do we, as a board, or as an agency, have any liability by only sending a draft to the state by July 1st and not a final audit report?
Yes.
Director, we would not be sending a draft to the
Okay.
state. We will be sending a final to the state.
Okay, so we would have the audit done, what I'm hearing, so we would have the audit done by July 1, and we would send it to the state, and
I
then,
believe the deadline is June 30th.
okay.
Yes.
So what if the draft is different than what is the final that we send? Because I think what I'm self-educating as we're going on this. I think what Commissioner O'Keefe is saying, this is a draft, but what we're voting on might be different than what's sent to the state. and we're sending something to the state that we haven't approved as a board is what I guess I'm hearing. So I'm kind of torn because if our name's on something that we're approving something before it's done, and then it's going up to the state. So, at first I was like, okay, why do we need to have a special meeting? And I tended to agree with Commissioner Maddox to say, hey, we just have an agenda item coming in September. But I don't like the fact that we're not approving something before it goes to the state. Like there's a change, we're not seeing it, it's going up to the state without our approval. I do have a little bit of an issue with that. And that answered my second question. So thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Caban, I hear you loud and clear, and if I understand the process correctly, if there is a substantive change from what is approved today, there will be a special meeting called. We will come back to the table. That substantive change will be made to our attention. We will vote one way or the other on it. So no, we are not submitting a draft. We are approving the draft, saying that if there's no substantive changes, go ahead and file it. If there are substantive changes, bring it back. I personally do not have a problem with the substitute motion of going ahead and moving forward. This is a process, as staff has noted, that we have done previously when in this situation. I have complete confidence in Mr. Long, our Blueprint Finance Officer. I have complete confidence in the Financial Reporting Division of Financial Services Department of the City of Tallahassee, who also puts their eyes and ears on this. I have complete confidence in the county administrator, in the city manager. There's a lot of people involved with this process on top of the outside auditing firm. So I will be supporting the substitute motion on the table. Commissioner O'Keefe, I will tell you, Madam Chair, that I too share concerns about having individual directors reaching out to the auditors during the auditing process and weighing in. That is completely out of the norm. That is, in my mind, not appropriate. And if all 12 of us weighed in with the auditors during the auditing process, that just muddies the water. The whole idea is for the auditing process to be separate and for us not to get involved. So I would encourage us moving forward to honor the auditing process and let it be. I will support the substitute motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Minor and then Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The main issue, as I see it, is that there's a chance that the audit draft that we see here could change between the time of today and the time we submit it to the state. That's the main thing. And Mayor Daley, or Director Daley, kind of stole my talking points on this part, but if that comes to bear, if the auditor does have a material finding that's different than what we see here in the draft, what the mayor said, I completely agree with. If that happens, it's up to our chairwoman to make a decision on calling a special meeting. And based on consultation from staff as well as the auditors, if that material finding is significant enough, I would like to have that emergency meeting. Sure. To talk about what is different than what we see in the draft here, talk about the cause of that material finding, and then vote on what to do. So presuming that is going to happen, within option one that the substitute motion is pushing forward, then I will submit, I'll approve the motion. So my question to the chair, as well as Madam Chair, if I can direct this to staff as well.
Absolutely.
Is that inherent in option one, what I described?
Yes, Director, that would be inherent in option one.
Commissioner O'Keefe, I respect what you brought up. You know, when I was at Second Harvest, I was part of a massive, financial audit every single year. Those are not easy. And the input coming into that process that is required from our staff is extensive, particularly since they have to rely on the city to finish the city's financials first and then come to Blueprint. I mean, that's a compressed timeline that you all have to deal with. So I do that, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate the comments that you've raised. Having your CPA background, bringing that to the board here, I think is very beneficial for all of us. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to go ahead and support the substitute motion on the table because of the idea that should there be a material finding, the chairwoman will go ahead and talk with staff and at her discretion, call an emergency meeting to discuss this if we need to. And I hope that we would do so if the material finding is significant enough for us to need to meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to defer to the opinion of the commissioner that has worked professionally as a CPA. I appreciate you bringing up the concerns, but this should be avoided. We meet 4 times a year. We know that this is coming every June. We should be scheduling our meetings in such a way that we get the complete report. Full stop. There's no reason we're in a position today not to have a completed draft to adopt.
The reason I heard was we're waiting for the city's audit to be complete.
Correct.
That's the reason.
This is the process every single year. We wait for the city, and if we know that there's only a few weeks, we need to be scheduling our meeting in June. We've had this conversation. The meeting agenda continues to change. We continue to reduce the amount of meetings, and what I'm asking staff to do is look at a calendar, look at what we need to get done, and make sure we don't end up in a position like this. I don't want to come back for a special meeting in June, but I have a duty and a responsibility to this board to support a completed draft before we submit it to the state. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And none of us want to come back for a special meeting. And I'm thinking we won't have to, because there won't be any substantial findings. We're hoping for that. I know you are as well. Anyone else like to weigh in on this? Okay. The motion on the table is the substitute motion. We're going to do a roll call vote on that. I'm sorry, I keep looking back. It's CPRTA, the clerk is back here, but the clerk is over here for Blueprint. Sorry.
Mayor Daley?
Aye.
Commissioner Matlow?
Nay.
Commissioner Porter?
Nay.
Commissioner Richardson? Commissioner Williams-Cox?
Aye.
Commissioner Caban? Commissioner Cummings?
Aye.
Commissioner Maddox? Commissioner Minor?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Keefe?
Nay.
Commissioner Proctor?
No.
And Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Okay. It passes. Thank you all. On to our next agenda item. Moving to our general business. Our general business, ratification of the May 8, 2025 Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency Budget Workshop.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, directors. We got good direction from you from the workshop we had earlier today, and this option number 1 is to ratify those actions.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second to accept the recommendations of staff. All in, going to do roll call on this one as well?
No speakers.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Confirming the
No
record.
speakers. Okay. We're going to do roll call on this one as well.
Mayor Daley?
Aye.
Commissioner Matlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Porter?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson? Commissioner Williams-Cox?
Aye.
Commissioner Caban?
No.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox? Commissioner Minor?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Keefe?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
No.
And Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Okay, it passes. Thank you. Next, we have, under our general business, we have the approval of a new appointment to the Blueprint Citizen Advisory.
That was under consent, Madam
Oh,
Chair.
okay, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm
That concludes the general business. It would be on to director discussion at this point, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. I'm looking around, y'all. Y'all want to talk about it?
You want me to say the benediction or something?
Only if you do. We do have a new pope. We do have a new pope. He's from Chicago.
We're going to whip those fans out for him.
So it'll be a short benediction. Okay. Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaking of benedictions, I'm not Catholic, but I wanted to congratulate our Catholic brothers and sisters on the selection of the new Pope, Pope Leo XIV.
Yeah, yeah, great celebration. I saw on television. Great celebration. We're all excited about that. Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll make this one hopefully real quick. I've noticed that maybe the past year, the members of the IMC, for the most part, have not joined us for our meetings in the room. And
Vince was here today.
Vince was here today, so one of two, but I didn't want to call anyone out specifically. I was
Well, I
going to
mean, you say the IMC. They're a group.
So when I started here, they used to sit up there. That way, if we had needs, they could weigh in. My concern is that, as we know very clearly, those are the only folks who actually report to the board, right? We oversee the IMC, and then everything else, staff, everything is IMC. And so I think it's worth it that they be here. And so I move that the board direct the IMC to regularly attend and participate in our meetings.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we direct the IMC to regularly attend these meetings.
Yeah, we have to attend, so all of them should attend too.
Point of order, Madam Chair, that is not a proper motion, because I think this came up maybe a year or so ago on a similar question. This board can direct the IMC as to blueprint projects, but not as, direct employees. They don't work necessarily directly for the IA. So as to the blueprint projects, yes, but not to, for example, attend the IA board meeting.
Okay.
If I may try a different one, since that was.
Well, give it another try, but you only get 2 closings.
Is that policy as well?
Yeah, that's policy, as per the chair.
Okay. I move that Blueprint write a letter requesting the honorable presence of the IMC members at our board, so that we may receive input from them, since they report.
Commissioner O'Keefe, let me, as a chair, let me say this. We will invite them, okay? I mean, if it's that important, I'm assuming that they're somewhere doing some real important work instead of sitting in this meeting, because, we've had marathon meetings into the night. So I wouldn't blame them if because work still has to go on. So we can invite them to come to our meetings. I don't think we need to legislate or any of that. We just need to invite them, and if they can come, they can come. And of course, they're open to meet with us anytime. You want to meet with them, you call the auditor, call Vince, call Reese, meet with them. Meet with them.
I second the motion.
You too, Commissioner Pryor, you can meet with them too.
I second the motion. We got a live motion, General Counsel.
Yeah, well, no, we didn't, I didn't accept that second motion, because I just ended it before we could get to it, because the chair does have the ability to accept the motion or not. And I'm not. I'm offering a peace offering that we can invite them to come. Because I know we want to be an effective board. We don't want to be putting motions out there just to be doing it. We're doing it because there's a purpose to be served, and our community expects us to adhere to that. So we can invite them to come. Any other discussion, board discussion? Commissioner Matlow?
I move to.
I'm sorry. You had another?
I'll defer.
I move to appeal the ruling of the chair.
Second.
Go for it.
Madam Chair, so you have a request to appeal your ruling as to the fact that the motion is out of
Improper.
order, that it's improper. So we must take a vote on that, and so the question for the body is, shall the decision of the chair be sustained? So if someone votes in the affirmative, if they vote yay, that means they're supporting your decision that the motion is improper. So the question would be, shall the decision of the chair be sustained under Robert's rules?
Madam Chair, Madam Attorney.
Madam Chair, I'll withdraw the motion. I just hope we could be more cordial in the future. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And Commissioner Matlow, I offered a peace offering and to invite the IMC, if it's that important, that we want to send a certified letter to the IMC to come sit in here instead of doing the work that we know they need to be doing, then you go ahead, you have my permission to do that. I am not going to entertain that.
All right, for the sake of time, then I've made my point. I made my thoughts clear. Other commissioners can consider if they think this is important or not to them. It seems unusual that the only leadership that reports to a board does not participate in what few board meetings they have. Those are my comments today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Any other discussion? Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. Spirit of civility, can the attorney please give us an update on Commissioner Matlow's lawsuit against this body? Where do we stand? What's going on? Is it over? Is it not?
Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
So the latest, Director, Mr. Mayor, is that Judge Cooper, who is the circuit judge who was overseeing this case, dismissed the case back in March with an order. He dismissed it with prejudice, finding that there was absolutely no evidence to support Mr. Matlow's lawsuit against Blueprint for any violation of the Sunshine Law involving the IMC. There was allegations that there were secret meetings being held. There was no evidence presented to support that, and thus Judge Cooper dismissed after 2 years of giving the plaintiff, Mr. Matlow, an opportunity to amend his complaint. That lawsuit was dismissed back in March. The latest is that Mr. Matlow has filed a motion for reconsideration. We have a hearing set for June 3rd at 10 a.m. before Judge Cooper. Mr. Matlow is asking Judge Cooper to reconsider the motion that dismissed his lawsuit with prejudice.
Follow up, Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
To date, what is the estimate of how much taxpayer dollars we have spent on this lawsuit?
Following the dismissal in March, we did the calculation, and it was roughly about $52,000 in attorney's fees that was spent defending the agency against the lawsuit with the hiring of the law firm of Schutz and Bowen. As of right now, I have not done the calculation because obviously now they're also working on the motion for reconsideration and will continue to represent us through the June 3rd motion hearing. So it will be higher.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussions, director discussions? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.